Hello, hola, ¿cómo estás? Entakois, salam shoma chaturi, and salam alaikum. I think I covered most of the international community. Welcome to this special episode of Lunch with Experts, and today we have a special guest, Chintan Patel from University of Pacific Dugoni School of Dentistry. Thank you for joining me and doing this video. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us, and it's really great honor to guide you guys on this program, and hopefully it will be really helpful for you guys.
Absolutely. So let's get started.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So usually the common question is how to send the best application possible. So before we get on to this question, I would like to explain how schools review your application. On an average, how many applications do you think schools receive?
Almost around 800 to maybe 12 to 1500. Depends on which school you are applying and depends on how many seats they are offering each year. So if they have like a more amount of seat and a lot of people are interested in application, so probably you should consider around 1000 at least.
Yeah, I heard sometimes in Boston University they go over 1800 applications. So these are not official figures, this is just what we have heard. So when a school receives application, they usually, let's say on an average 1500 applications are received by school. So they send to 15 to 20 different faculties and everyone has 100 applications to review. And when they review, they come up with 4 different sets. One is interview, one is almost an interview, third is okay, and the fourth one is I did waste my time.
Yes.
So and usually the one with interviews, they get the interview calls at the end when they collect all the, when they review all their results and they collect it.
Yeah.
So that's when the first 100 they get the interview, the next almost interview are in wait list and rest they do not get in, right?
Yes, and also I would like to add in that like as soon as you send your application, they will start to distribute those applications to the different faculties and they will start reviewing your application based on your different documents as well as your scores and all your pre-requirements. So once you submit those all, they would start to figure out like who will get the interview and not. So it will be really helpful for you guys to send application as soon as possible and as complete as possible.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
it's something you can do like before even your application cycle start. So I would be prepared for my application like on the beginning of the March, when usually they start at the 5th March. So I would be prepared before that so I can submit my application as soon as the cycle starts.
Absolutely, and it is also important to send your complete application in one package as well as everything updated. You do not want to send, let's say you gave part 1 and you send your application and then you're going to update your part 2, or you had a low TOEFL score and then you want to update it to a higher score. You never know if your applications will be re-reviewed because there are hundreds of applications and they are good applications. The competition is really high.
Yes.
So whenever you send in your application, make sure it's your best application, right?
Yeah.
You want to add anything on top of that?
No, that's pretty much we covered everything on that topic, so we can move forward.
Right. So next will be the basic things what are required. So NBD examinations, part 1 and part 2 is always preferred.
Yes, so most of the schools are changing their policies right now, and as there are a lot of applicants, so most of them have like part 1 and part 2 already taken. So I would prefer to have part 1, part 2 when you're applying rather than just applying with part 1, even though schools are accepting without part 2.
I agree. With this competition, you want to send your best application and part 2 is going to help. The next will be TOEFL score. So what do you think is a good TOEFL score?
So based on this competitive seasons, like at least 100 score is required most of like schools. So I would go with the 100. But if you want to be competitive enough, then at least 105. And also you need to consider about different scores in the different sections. So you should think about like if some schools are asking like 26 or 25 in the writing or speaking, then they are asking, so you should have those scores. And if you have better than that, I would prefer to have like better than at least like their minimum requirement.
Absolutely. And again, we understand that few countries do not have their education in English, and it's really difficult for students from those countries to have a very good TOEFL score. But make sure it's at least 100. 105 is a good score, and if a school is asking, they have the specific requirements, that means they want that. And again, good communication skill is very essential in dentistry. So TOEFL is again a very important tool in your application.
And I would like to add also, like most of the schools right now, they are looking at a TOEFL score and they are considering it as one of their judgment points.
Okay.
So at least make sure you have good score on that.
Okay, so let's go next to GPA scores. What is a good GPA score according to you?
So average GPA score most schools are accepting anything above 3, but I would say average GPA score is around 3.4 to 3.5. But you want to be a higher side, that would be always beneficial for your application.
Absolutely, but again, it's not a given that if you have 3.2 you are not a good candidate. You may have some other things in your application which might be good, so you have to look on that aspect as well. But on an average, if your score is somewhere around 3.5 and above, you're definitely a good student. But there is also a question, what if my GPA score is low? And what is a low score according to you?
So it depends on which country you are belong. Also, so different country has different curriculum, and based on that they calculate the GPAs. So let's say suppose if you are from India, then they have higher GPAs compared to the other countries.
Right.
So if you have, let's say suppose lower GPA compared to the other students from the India, then I would go for some other programs like Masters in Public Health or Master in Public Administration, which will help you to improve your GPA, as well as it will give you some edge on the application cycle, because it will help you to show them that you are a good candidate, you have been to something educational committee or educational site.
Well, yeah, so academically you're strong. So yeah, definitely. So GPA is a good tool, but at the same time, if you have 4 GPA and nothing else in your resume, then it's not gonna work. So there are a lot of students with even 3.2 GPA got in the dental school, and people with 4 GPA are still struggling. So it's something, an overall package they are looking at. But what if your GPA score is low? How you can improve? As Chintan mentioned, so you could do maybe MPH, MHA, and try to, MPH is again Masters in Public Health or Masters in Health Administration. These are 1 year or 2 years programs. You could search on the internet for that. I do not have that information right now.
Yeah.
But you could do that and you can score a higher GPA. At the same time, that's when the next thing comes up, ADAT. If your GPA score is low, then ADAT is definitely going to help you. Get somewhere around 85 or 90th percentile. That's how you can tell the admissions committee that you are a good candidate. But if not, let's say someone with a GPA of over 3.5, do you think ADAT is necessary?
It's based on how long have you been applying. So if you are applying first cycle and if you have overall good application, I would just apply without ADAT.
Absolutely.
But if you are applying multiple time and if you are still not getting in or not any interviews, then I would prefer to have ADAT to just give you edge on your application, as well as you can improve your application. You can show them you are continuously trying to add something in your application. So ADAT will definitely help in those scenarios.
Right, absolutely. And ADAT being a new exam, schools are still figuring out how to best evaluate your scores. So it's still in a very naive stage, very early stage. So if you are applying for the first time and you have part 1, part 2, good TOEFL scores, you have other extracurricular activities, leadership skills, CEs, community service, then we do not recommend giving ADAT on your first cycle. But yes, if you are into second cycle or if you have something which is low, as we discussed earlier, then yes, ADAT is going to help you. So next, there is another very hot favorite question, research experience. Is research really required?
It is at some point, because it gives it opens your door to the schools, because if you are doing some research in United States, then you will be doing those research in under some faculties of the schools.
Right.
So it will help you to understand the schools, as well as they will also know you better, and they will know you as an applicant. So if you are applying to those schools and if you have research experience from the same school, then you may be getting interviews from their schools, and you have higher chances than other students to get in those programs. As well as other schools, if you are applying, they will also look in your research, because you have done something in the university setup, and which will help you to improve your profile, definitely.
Absolutely. But again, there is students on B1, B2 or visitors visa or on a disadvantage. but that doesn't mean that research is must. If you can, that's good enough. Research will help you in getting in touch with, as Chintan said, in getting in touch with the faculty. You get a good recommendation letter, but at the same time, I do not think it's a required. What if I do not want to do research? I want to be a general practitioner. I want to be in a private practice. Then your statement of purpose should be like that. Your CV should speak about it.
Yes, that's definitely I would agree with.
And you do not want to just put in some kind of publication. There are like few unethical activities going on where where you want to put your name in some kind of research. If you're not first or second author, you're some third or fourth author, it's not going to be so helpful.
Yeah, and you want to really be careful before you put those kind of experiences, because schools are looking for that, and they would may cross check your application if they feel like.
And absolutely, this US schools are top notch in research, so they really come to know if you have really done research, you are interested in research and not. So don't fake anything in your profile. Be truthful about your goals, and give your application and your statement of purpose accordingly.
Yes, that's true.
Right. So next very important thing is shadowing.
Yes, shadowing, I would say it will help you, and it is must to do, because it will help you to understand what the dentistry is different than country you are belong to, because it gives you like a little bit idea about like how the dentists work here.
Absolutely.
And also it will help you to get more guidance from the dentist you are working with sometime, and they can give you like some good recommendation, and probably it will help you to put in your application, and also
absolutely
you can go from there.
And also the culture, the practice of dentistry is different from where we come from. Over here there are insurance policies, the way patient talk to a dentist, it's all different. I once a patient, while I was shadowing, once a patient came in and asked to my dentist that I just want to do prophy, that's just the supragingival scaling, but he had deep pockets. The dentist said, no, I cannot do it. So that's when I learned about how ethics works. It's not just about patient autonomy. You do not have to do any harm. If you are not doing if you do not believe in that treatment plan, you can tell the patient no.
Yes.
And that's what sometimes this experience helps in schools like Colorado, where they ask you ethical questions.
Yeah, that's true. And as Rahul said, the communication is something like biggest thing here in the dentistry. So if you are shadowing, you are observing them, how they are communicating and how they are taking care of their patients. And the schools are also looking for those kind of experiences, because they want you to treat their patients the same way that dentists are treating in the community.
Right.
So I guess shadowing experience will be
and our
really
programs
good.
are expedited. So in just 2 years, so they will prefer if you have good experience, because you have just 3 months of pre-clinics, right? In summer, in some kind of lab. But then in the second quarter, you are in clinics and treating patients. So that experience is really
helpful. Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. So next important question is how to improve my application. Let's say you have gotten the first cycle and you did not hear from anyone. And let me tell you my experience. I got accepted in the third capit cycle. I went through depression. I did not get any good advice from anyone. And it was really a bad duration of my life. But yeah, in all, everything was worth it. But I wish I had some good advice. I could have done much better in my second application. So this is where we come from, and how do we, what would you suggest to improve their application? Let's say if they were not successful in their first application cycle.
So based on my experience, I would say, first of all, I would say everyone has different application and they have different perspective to apply. So based on my experience, I got in second application cycle. But before that, I worked as a dental assistant.
Okay.
And after that experience, I went ahead and applied to the GPR fellowship program, which was really good for me to gain more experience in the dentistry. And then I applied to the IDS program, it's International Dental Program. And then I received a lot of interviews, and then I got in some of schools, and I chose to go to the University of the Pacific. But based on my experiences, you can either go to the work experience, improve your work experience somehow, or improve your some kind of research experience, or improve your something like credentials like ADAT, take ADAT, or if you don't have part 2, then take a part 2, and also try to improve your TOEFL score. or you can go also like for some kind of preceptorship programs which
Absolutely.
are offered by some of universities. Do you have
Right,
any other
absolutely.
idea?
Yeah, so for you it was easier to do the assistantship because you had the residency over here.
Yes.
For me, I was on F1 student visa, so for me the doors were kind of locked. So what I did was I enrolled into preceptorship program at UCLA. I did 3 quarters to get OPT status as
Oh,
well.
that's
So
good.
that's another important thing that you will have to check when you apply for preceptorship programs, that if they give OPT or not. I believe Michigan does not give that. So you want to check beforehand. Things can change. We are recording this today, but they can change.
Yeah, they can change.
Right. So for me, again, doing preceptorship for 3 quarters was important, as again, finances is one of the major thing. For me, I selected preceptorship, which was within my budget. At the same time, I wanted to learn something new.
That's true.
At the same time, if you are there for 3 quarters, so that's a good enough time to for faculty to know you. So you get good recommendation letters. If you do preceptorship for one quarter, 3 months is not a good way to ask for recommendation letters. They may not give you, and also it does not have enough value. But when I was there for 9 months, I also got research opportunities. I got to know the professors well, and I got a very good recommendation letter, and that's how it helps to get you know more about the school. So you could definitely do preceptorship if to improve. It's not a prerequisite, but there are other ways also to do it. Everyone cannot afford that kind of
Yeah.
tuition.
That's true.
It's expensive. You are spending close to $25,000, and it's a huge amount.
Yeah, that is.
So there are always other ways, like ADAT. You could improve your ADAT score or give ADAT exam during your second application cycle. And like if possible, you could also enroll yourself as a research assistant.
Yeah.
That may be helpful. You have to email every professor. Don't be in that opinion that if I email one professor and we'll get it.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult task. So you will really have to push yourself. Secondly, third things are like preceptorship and ACT, advanced clinical training programs, which are like 1-year programs at different schools. You could do MPH, MHA, as well as work experience. You could be assistant, right? And other things are to improve. Statement of purpose is the most important document.
Yes.
That's how you sell yourself, I would say.
Yeah. So first and foremost thing, they would read your statement of purpose, right? They will look in. They won't know you in the personal as a person, but they will know on the paper how you are representing yourself to the school, and that's how they choose you for the application. I mean, as a eligible applicant for the interviews.
Absolutely.
And from there on, most of time they would ask you like questions in the interview from your personal statements, right?
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
was your experience with that?
But again, like more, I would say there are like few things about personal statement that we shouldn't write. I made a big mistake during my first application cycle. I learned it the hard way. So first thing I would say, the complete no is to not repeat your resume.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't.
I had most of the things repeated. I just, from concise resume, my statement was more descriptive. Second thing is no quotes, no fancy philosophical quotes. I did that mistake too.
Yeah.
So, and the third thing is, do not put that I graduated from a world-renowned school or that was the best school in my country. I did that third mistake too. So all these mistakes, I learned it hard way. So these 3 things are no in your SOP.
That's
right?
true. Yeah. And also, like, I would say, if you want to be simple in your SOP, it's fine. Be yourself, but
Absolutely.
and let the SOP flow in like a fluidic manner. So
A story.
it shows like you can write something better, and it also shows like how you are as a person, right?
Absolutely.
And what's your motivation for applying to the dental school, which should be throughout showing through your statement of purpose, I guess.
Right. I would say like include these questions, like answers to these questions, like why you did dentistry.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of DDS? Why you want to DDS? And what do you want to learn in DDS? These are like good questions. What do you foresee yourself in future? What are your expectations from the school? And what is different in you? What will you bring to the school? It's this are really good questions they want to know. And again, there should be some kind of personal touch to that. You should have your own story, but at the same time, not everyone should have that sad story.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to be cliche, right? You want to be yourself. So everyone will have like some kind of different you can find out from your own life. So I would just put it, just be simply put it. They would appreciate it.
Right. Absolutely. And they now know they are doing this for years and years. They have read n number of statement of purpose, and sometimes they really get bored. If they read one paragraph,
Yeah, they would just leave it.
they are not going to do it. So don't do that. And sometimes it's okay, even if you say that. I understand. I can say from India that if you do not get medicine, a lot of people take dentistry. So it's okay to say that. I at that time I took dentistry, but after going through the four to 5 years, I really felt in love with dentistry, and now I want to improve on my knowledge, and I want to go for DDS.
Yes,
that's a good story too.
That's true.
That's okay. So be truthful, but at the same time show passion that you want to really be a DDS, and you are that candidate.
Yes, that's true.
Right. And so next we come for CV. What is a good CV, and how would you write your CV?
I would go with the CV which is not too long.
Absolutely.
It's like concised and
Two
which shows
page I think is good.
And maximum 3 I would say, but not more than that. You don't want to repeat things in your CV again. You just want to be as clear as you can.
Bullet points.
And in the CV I would say add most important thing in the initial, and then put something like which is not as much.
Right. I would like say the CV formats, you can always find it on internet. They are good professional CV formats. At the same time, you want to give little details, more concise. Let's say work experience. If you were an associate dentist or you worked as a dental assistant, you may want to write a little bit about in one sentence about what were your roles. Other than that, if you had some kind of presentations, publications, some awards, honors, you could follow that. And at the end, maybe you could write extracurricular activities or any other thing. And you want to show them you are an all-rounded person. You are not just a nerd. They are looking for a person who are well balanced. It's all about work-life balance.
Yes. And also I would add, like in the CV, like put some small bullet points, so your interviewer will have like scope to ask you like what did you do in that, like how did you get in that work experience, or how did you get in that office, and how was that experience. So they will ask you questions from your CV most time.
Yeah, and when you go for interview, definitely go through your CV. You shouldn't forget what you put it in your CV. That's very important.
True. Yeah.
So apart from there, and there is one more question regarding letter of recommendations. Whom should we take a letter of recommendations from?
So as we all know, like most school need one LOR from the dean,
dean.
Right?
Yes,
so
that's for must.
Yeah.
So other two LORs.
So other two, if you have some kind of like research experience or something like experience with the school or university, and if you can get it from there, it would make like a really big difference for your application. And if you cannot from the university, then I would go to some dentist and have some work experience with them or shadowing experience, and they would be happy to write you a letter of recommendation, and that will also help. But if let's say if you are applying for outside of US, then always you can ask for your professors from your school or your colleagues to write you up like good recommendation letter, and it will really help, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. The professors from your dental school are a very, very good source of asking a recommendation letter, because they have known you maybe right from second year or third year of dental school. They know you, how you grow. You have been working with them for 3 to 4 years or more. So that's a good way to evaluate your character.
Yes.
Sometimes people ask, is a recommendation letter from a shadowing experience is worth? I do not recommend that. How can a person know you in 3 to 4 months, and that too just observing? You are not doing anything else, right?
It is, but if you don't have any other option, I would take as per my personal experience. But if you are doing some like, let's say if you are doing like master in public health,
definitely,
I mean you can ask your professor, even though those are not dentistry related,
but yes,
but they knows you as a person, and how was your performance and in their program. So they will be confident that this person will also do like same kind of like performance in other program.
Absolutely. But that's again a 1 year experience. You do not want to take a recommendation letter from an experience which is just 2 or 3 months old.
Yeah, like something like longer is better always.
Right. So I think, and here we come to the final question: which schools to apply?
I guess it's your choice first. but I would shortlist most of the school because right now it's really competitive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I would not say like I don't want to apply in this and I want to be much picky about other school. I would apply wherever I can, as my personal experience, as I applied like most of the school in the application cycle. So if you apply many school, then you will have higher chances to get interview from the many
Absolutely,
schools.
absolutely.
Like it works like that in this competitive manner, right?
Absolutely.
But again, you need to see like how your scores are and your application and your CVs and everything is matching with the school's requirement. If you are applying according to that, then you will have higher chances to get in.
No, yes. So apply to as many schools as possible. You're going to spend close to $250,000 to $300,000 in your tuition alone. Spending another $1,000 or $2,000, is it going to make a big difference? You never know which schools call you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's said that do not apply to one particular school because they just select master students. You never know.
Yeah.
The schools, they always evaluate their programs. They change their policies. You never know when you get a chance. So there is nothing said that if this school is calling just masters, I shouldn't apply. I would be like, apply to everywhere. You never know when your lucky number opens up.
Yeah, that's true.
And at the same time, there are 1,500 applicants on an average. So sometimes even if everything is good, you may not get.
Yes.
And that's the hard truth. It's just destiny, I would say.
Yeah.
But don't lose hope.
Yeah.
Keep on applying, keep on improving, and we are sure
You will get in.
you will get onto this board.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we did the same and we are here. You
Absolutely.
will be here.
And it's worth all the struggle, I would say. I
Yeah.
went through everything. It was a big struggle for me. I have some gray hair too right now, but it's worth it.
Fortunately, I don't.
It's really worth it. And we hope you will be here soon on this side of the board.
Yeah.
And the next time, I think next time will be part 2 of this video series. We'll be talking about bench test and interviews as well as life as an international dentist in USA as well as DDS program. Thank you so much. Hope this video was helpful to you.
Yeah, that's true.
And comment on this video if you want us to answer anything else. Thank you so much and we wish you all the best.
Good luck.